Hello there, and welcome to Math 110, Calculus 2 at Humboldt State University this spring. I'm Dr. Tyler Evans. I'm a professor of the mathematics department here at Humboldt. The purpose of this video is to walk you through the course syllabus for our Calc 2 class this semester. I made a separate video kind of walking you through the overall structure of the Canvas course page, and if you haven't already done so, I strongly recommend that you check that video out and orient yourself with the structure of the page and where to find the information you'll need as we take the course. Right, in this video, I'm going to focus on the course syllabus. So I'm going to go ahead and click the syllabus link here on the main page of our Canvas course. The topmost section is just sort of my contact information and registration information for the course. So again, I'm Dr. Tyler Evans. It's my email address. It's absolutely the best way to contact me during this virtual semester. My office phone does receive voicemails and I will be able to check them occasionally, but email is certainly the best way to contact with me. I'm actually teaching two sections of Calculus 2 this semester, one at 10 a.m. and one at 11 a.m., but they share the same Canvas course. Okay, so everybody is going to be directed to this same course, no matter what section you're in. I got some information about my office hours here. I'm going to have office hours the same 4 days a week that our course meets, that is every day but Wednesday. And the office hours will be about an hour and 15 minutes long. So they start at about 1:45 and will go until 3 p.m. So I've got about 5 hours of office hours available every week. Prerequisite for the course is our HSU Math 109 or whatever the first semester of calculus is, its equivalent. Okay. Next section is the course description. So what's our course about? Well, calculus in general is about the study of rates of change. What I'm assuming about you in your first semester of calculus is that you've looked at limits and derivatives and integrals for the families of functions that include polynomials, rational functions, exponential and logarithmic functions, and trigonometric functions. I'm assuming that you are familiar with the rules of differentiation, including the product, quotient, and chain rule. And I'm assuming that you're familiar with integration and have a little bit of experience with doing integrations by U substitution, together with applications of the integral to problems like finding the area under a curve. Okay. So what are we going to do in our course? Well, our course, the first third of it will sort of focus on techniques of integration. So we'll start off looking at some more applications of the integral, applications to also area and volumes, and then we'll focus our time on how to compute antiderivatives for various values of functions, so techniques of integration. Then we're going to look at applications of the integral to certain problems in physics, namely hydrostatic force and centers of mass. In chapter 9, we'll take a quick look at something called the theory of differential equations. So how people in science use calculus to predict things that they're modeling. Chapter 10, we'll take a look at parametric functions, a different way to sort of think about curves in the plane. We'll do the differential and integral calculus of parametric functions. We'll also learn a new coordinate system for the plane called polar coordinates. It'll be heavily trigonometric in nature. And then we'll end our course with chapter 11, sequences and series, which is sort of a way that you can approximate any function with polynomial functions. All right, so that's just sort of a brief overview of what that paragraph is. With respect to our text, we'll cover most of, but not all of chapters 6 through 11. So that's kind of the sequence in our text. I mentioned this in the course overview that there is a required text. It's the same text you used in Math 109, Stewart's 8th, and you can take a look at the link to the textbook information page for options to purchase the text if you don't already have it. It is absolutely required, and it's very important that you get it right away. So if you don't already own the text, the first thing you should do after finishing this video is acquire it. Okay. We're going to be doing this course virtually, hopefully for the last time this spring semester, but so there's some required devices that you'll need. We're going to be meeting on Zoom. So that's of course going to require that you have a computer with an internet connection, a microphone, and a camera. All right, I'm going to be posting videos on YouTube. So you'll need a computer to be able to access those things. So you can check out the technical tools page here for the details of what things you're going to need. So, but minimally, you need a computer with an internet connection, a microphone, and a camera. You're also going to need some way of scanning the work that you do for exams and producing single file, multiple page PDFs. And you can check out the technical tool page for some for some tips on how to do that. This is not the first semester we've done things virtually, so I'm kind of assuming that you're familiar and comfortable with these kinds of things now, but if not, just give me a shout and I'll help you out. Okay. I don't require them, but if possible, I strongly recommend you get some kind of tablet or iPad with a stylus or Apple Pencil or something like that to facilitate the electronic document exchanges. It makes it pretty easy to mark up PDFs. For example, like when I give exams, you can just import them into your tablet or iPad, work out like on how you would on a piece of paper, and then upload them to Canvas and so on. So it's not required, but if you do have the possibility of getting something like that, I would highly recommend that you do it. HSU, you can check out this link. I don't know the availability of their equipment now, but I know that the university was doing everything they can to help people get the equipment they need. So if you need any of these things in the required section or the recommended section, you might want to see if HSU could help you get your hands on some of that stuff. Okay. In terms of calculators and software, you need a scientific calculator in the sense that we'll be doing some computations. It might necessarily be sometime to take the square root of the log of 2 or something like that. You can certainly use software to do this, so you don't have to have a handheld calculator per se. I'm frequently going to be using Mathematica, Desmos, Google Sheets in my lectures, my video lectures, Zoom sessions, so I'll kind of demonstrate those kinds of things. I highly recommend that you graph and kind of try to understand what we're doing graphically as much as possible because it deepens your understanding. All right, so Desmos is sort of, I think, the best tool in the sense that it's easy to use and it's available for free. You can check out more information on the technical tools page. Okay, so the next section is about exam preparation, quiz and practice problems from the textbook. So every day that we meet, I'm going to be covering material from a section in the textbook. And you can check out on the Canvas page in the course modules, I'll list problems. You're not going to turn these problems into me. So that's why I'm calling them practice problems. But completing them is the best, really the only way to prepare for the exams. A little bit later down in the syllabus here, we'll look at graded course components, but for the most part, your grade is going to be based on exams. How do you do well on exams? You practice for them. What do you practice? You practice the problems out of the text. So when you look in the course modules, every day there'll be text problems. They're organized in 3 tiers, and your goal is to be able to do those problems in the first tier with accuracy. So that's how you get ready for your exams. You're not going to turn them into me, but please don't make the mistake of assuming that that means that you shouldn't do them. I could show you lots of testimonials from the previous semester of students that didn't start doing the practice problems until after we'd had our first midterm, because they realized during the first midterm that they couldn't do any of those problems well or confidently because they hadn't been practicing. Okay, so you can get feedback on those practice problems either by coming to me, my office hours. We have a dedicated tutor. You can go to her office hours. You can also check your answers directly at something like slater.com. But the practice problems are absolutely the most important day-to-day component of how to learn this math. Okay, so I'm not collecting them. They're not part of your grade directly, but at the risk of kind of saying too much about this, they are part of your grade indirectly, because if you don't practice, you're not going to do well on my examinations. All right, so what are the graded course components? Well, there's 3 of them. There's going to be a quiz every day associated to the problems on Canvas. The quizzes are done in Canvas. Sometimes they're true and false, sometimes they're multiple choice, sometimes they're drop down. I try to mix it up a little bit. There's one assigned every day, but in the name of not having too many due dates, the quizzes are always going to be due at the end of every week on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Again, I would recommend that you do the quizzes daily as we're moving through the material. But if something comes up and you can't complete a quiz on the day that we cover that material, that's okay. You just have to complete that quiz by the end of that week. All right. On the quizzes, I'm kind of trying to keep track of sort of how well you've studied for it. So I would definitely recommend that you do the homework practice problems before the quiz. The quizzes are timed, although I give you a lot of time, so I don't think the time is going to be an issue, but they are kind of one chance. You have to select either true or false or multiple choice, and you don't get a chance to select again. So you want to work out your answers carefully, double check them, select them once, and then turn your quizzes in. Each week we'll also have a reflection assignment. So that's going to be kind of an open-ended writing assignment in which you kind of just describe in your own words what it is we were doing that week. It's a chance for you to give me some feedback about things you'd like to see done differently or things you'd like to see done in some more detail. Those reflections are like quizzes are also due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. And then we're going to have exams, including the final. There'll be 5 of them. So we'll have 4 midterm exams in addition to a final exam. So 5 exams total. I'll show you the dates here in a second, but they're scheduled now. So if you have some official reason, maybe because of university business or something, I'll be willing to try to accommodate something about exams, but we have to do it in advance. All right, so you need to look at those exam dates now and decide if you need some accommodation, you need to contact me before the end of this first week and we can try to make alternate arrangements. I think I want to emphasize here that I do not score my exams with partial credit. So in this course, when I'm scoring your exams, I'm not really keeping track of what proportion of a problem you can do. I'm keeping track of what proportion of problems you can do correctly. Right, so I'll say something more about this in your grade, but as you're working those practice problems in the text, I strongly encourage you to keep this in mind, that what you're preparing for, if I give you an exam with 10 problems on it, I'm going to be keeping track of how many of those 10 problems can you do without making any errors. All right, so it's a little bit more pressure, but that's what you're going to be preparing for on your exams. We have a dedicated tutor for Math 110. The Tutoring Center also has other tutors, so there's sort of a section here. I'll let you check it out on the Tutoring Center's information. So if you look at the course Canvas page video, you'll see I also will put some information about our dedicated tutor, Emma. So she's a tutor who's sort of only for us, available to you at no cost. It's possible occasionally, I don't have these things planned out in advance, but occasionally I'll make some extra credit or maybe participation points available for people who are needing that. And so in order to do that, I need to know who's working with the tutor. So the tutoring center will give me some information about who's coming to see Emma or other tutors. If you don't want that to be the case, there's a form here that you can opt out. So if you don't fill out that opting out form, then I'm going to assume it's okay for the tutoring center to let me know. They don't tell me what you're talking about in the tutoring center. They just tell me if you're coming and how long you come for. All right. So here are exam dates. We're going to have frequent exams, 5 of them, so about every 3 weeks on average. The way the exams will work in each case, they'll become available at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're going to be due by 11:59 that night. The due date is hard. Okay, so Canvas will not accept the assignment after 11:59 p.m. So you need to give yourself enough time to write solutions for the exam, create the PDF file and upload it in that window. I'm not writing 16-hour-long exams. They're supposed to be done in about an hour or so. You can take some more time if you like it. The wide window is just to give you some flexibility and make sure you have time to turn them in. But be careful, if you go to submit this exam at 12 a.m. or 12:01 a.m., Canvas won't take it, and you can try to send it to me in an email or something like that, but I won't take it. So the exam dates these due dates are hard. You need to take them seriously and make sure that you give yourself enough time. Like I'm giving you all kinds of sage advice here, but I would try to submit them no later than 8 p.m., something like that. Because if something goes wrong, you have an internet connection problem, you've given yourself some time to work it out. Okay. The final exam is going to be a little bit different. It's going to have a wider window. I'm going to make it available at 8 a.m. on Monday, May 10th. It has to be due by 11:50. It has to be turned in by 11:59 on Wednesday, May 12th. So same kind of thing, a little wider window. Here's the graded categories. Quizzes are 10% of your grade. Reflections are 5%. The midterms are 15% each, and the final is 25%. Okay. I don't score things on partial credit. I already said that. I'm keeping track of what percentage of problems you can do correctly. So your goal in working on the practice problems and the homework is to not only be able to do them, but to be able to do problems accurately. That means being able to check your own work, double checking that your answer is correct. Because there's no partial credit, I use a slightly wider grade distribution table. So you might be used to sort of letter grades being separated by 10%. I do it by 15s. So for example, an 85% is still in the A minus range, a 75% is a B, and so on. In particular, the minimum percentage to pass the course, mathematics courses require a C minus or better, is 55%. So the way I want you to think about this is I'm essentially grading you on exams. Okay, quizzes and reflections make up 15%, but essentially the class is graded on exams. The exam problems are not scored with partial credit. So you're going to be scored, is the problem correct or is it not? If your minimum goal is to pass the course, then you need to be able to do slightly more than half the problems I ask you to do correctly. Okay, so that's how the course works. So keep that in mind when you get your exam scores back. If you're getting something like a 55 or 60% on an exam, it doesn't mean it's a D or something like that. In this course, that would be a C minus. All right. I'm going to let you check out the rest of this stuff. I'll just kind of hit the high points of it. There's some important dates, last day to add courses, drop courses. Definitely double check these if they're important to you. I did my best to make them accurate here, but I assume no responsibility for typos. There's some information about the learning outcomes of the course. I'll let you read this to keep this video a little bit shorter. And then some things about university policies. Okay, maybe you need some accommodations, things about the add drop policy, grade change policies, disruptive behavior, and so on. I'm assuming that you're all familiar with these policies and that you will adhere to them. And in particular, I want to mention that the academic honesty policy is very important. I don't have, I have kind of a zero tolerance policy for academic dishonesty. So anybody submitting any work that is deemed to be other than their own will receive a 0 on that assignment and most likely a failing grade for the course. So you want to make sure that you are aware of the university's academic policy, how it works, and more importantly, adhere to it. I'm hoping that your goal in this course is to learn mathematics. I'm very enthusiastic about teaching it to you. I try to make it as fun as we can. I think I have some cool stuff to show you. And so if your attitude is that you just want to learn it, then really this academic honesty policy shouldn't really be relevant to us. But do make sure that you're aware of what it says, and in particular, what the consequences of violating it are, because frankly, they're quite severe. All right. Lastly, I've kind of hit on some of this stuff, but you can check out my advice for what I think is a successful recipe for calculus. And well, I'm going to keep this video short, so I'll end it there. And I look forward to meeting you guys in class on January 19th. Thanks for listening.